Hello, 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 our dear friends. Happy to connect with you in this space. Happy to be with you, guide you, and support you through this life. We hope that you are well. We wish to connect with you to share with you our perspective of the potential that you have in your life. As we see it, many people experience their life within a restricted paradigm, a restriction and limitation that exists because of the third dimensional reality that you live within. As consciousness, as an expression of consciousness in form, the interaction with the third dimensional reality within the physicality creates a slowing down of the frequency of your expression. Interacting with the physical realm, with the physical body, results in this involvement of the mind, where the mind is able to catalogue events, singular moments, and then in cataloguing these moments, determines that there is a perceived linear experience. And this linear experience is the lining up of all of these moments in what is perceived as time. It thinks, oh, well, I can remember something that has happened in the past. I can remember something that has happened more recently than that. I remember a now moment that was experienced just a moment ago. And so if I create a linear expression within that, then my interpretation of that is that there is linear time. And if we extend that linear time into the present and beyond, into a perceived future, then this linear pattern is expected to continue. If you have an involvement of the mind in such a way, then what it will do is look for predictability. And the involvement of the ego within this wishes to control the journey along this predictable path. Through controlling the past perceived events and wishing to guide you into a continuation of this linear pattern. To do so, these expressions of control, these moments where there is control exerted through the mind or through the ego, tension is held, limitation is held. But this is satisfying for the mind and the ego because it is in some way making them seem relevant, making them seem powerful in some way. And their expression of control over the actions within the life are reinforced through either playing into the predictable outcome or observing that the life journey does not look like what was potentially predicted, and then creating further tension, further restriction, further limitation to draw you back onto that path that was predicted. Through this, the process of control often is that of generating a story or a personality. And for many of you that we observe, this investment into the story of your life as it is perceived creates much tension and restriction and limitation for you. And there's great abundance if you were to allow this to simply release. The universe as you are experiencing this moment is abundant. All possibilities are available for you. And the manifestation of your reality is only limited by you. And what we wish to guide you towards is your most abundant expression of self in this form, in this space, as your completeness. As your completeness experiencing the moment, then you are able to more wholly see, feel, and experience what is available for you, and move into a multitude of potentials that come next. The concept of linear time is in itself limiting. If you are able to move into a more broadened perspective, that within each moment there is infinite possibilities. And what moves you into these possibilities is where you take action. So ask yourself, in your daily life, are you taking action based upon the information that is presented to you by the mind and through the ego to reinforce some story, some belief, some system that you interact with? Are you reinforcing a personality, a concept of self? Or are you able to be more present in the moment and allow what is to be? Recognizing that everything that is presented to you right here and right now is exactly as it is meant to be. And you can confirm this because that is how it is. The environment that you interact with is by no accident. It is perfectly created for you to interact with. There is no mistake. There is no accident. There is no chance. What is available for you is what is available for you. What differs is your perception of what is actually happening. For many of you, you see resistance, you see tension, you see limitation, you see problems. You identify them as issues that you need to work through or get away from. Instead of seeing them as a problem, if you are able to simply see it as a thing that you are interacting with, without a judgment of it as good or bad, without a need for it to be right or wrong or better or worse than what it may be, you open up to the possibilities of what it actually is. You open up to interacting with the information that is presented to you by the universe, by your more complete, more whole self, so that you, in the human form, can experience your wholeness. In doing so, you expand the consciousness held in form. To assist with this, what we encourage for you is in each moment to observe where you are or where you are not holding neutrality. Neutrality, as we perceive it, is not a zero reference point that is neither positive or negative. It is a zero reference point that encompasses positive and negative simultaneously. It is wholeness. It is paradoxical in its nature. And by this, what we mean is that two simultaneously independent experiences can be fully met and acknowledged in the moment, even though they seem mutually exclusive. When you are fully able to be present and meet each moment in your life with an unconditionality, with an expression of love that is pure and needing for everything to simply be as it is, rather than needing it to be different. In this space, you are able to hold neutrality. And you will see this as you practice, that interactions you have with other people, with information, with your environment, that you may notice something that otherwise would be perceived somewhere on this polarized scale. In a dualistic model, there is something that is good and there is something that is not. And as you interact with it, as you meet it in your life, instead of buying into the story of whether it is right or not, whether you agree with it or whether you oppose it, instead of that response, we encourage you to meet it in a way where you simply acknowledge it. And you might say, oh, well, yes, we see this, and this is a truth. But it's not necessarily the truth. It is an aspect within the truth. The truth encompasses all things, all moments, all experiences. The truth is the wholeness that is experienced as your complete self. Anything less than that is a lesser truth. When you are practicing this, be careful not to diminish or to exclude anything that you interact with, because it arises as part of the wholeness, but it is simply a part of it. If you focus on it, if you focus on a specific aspect closely enough, and if you draw it in closely enough and examine it, then in its singularity, you may be able to form confirmation for the mind, for the ego, for your emotional state that makes it feel certain that if you hold on to this thing very tightly, then this is your safety. You can be confident around it. And this is a process within expansion beyond the limitation of the physicality. Recognizing where you hold on to concepts, beliefs, patterns, identities, where you hold on to them in different ways, and where you are invested in such a way that provides you certainty or confidence in your life. Ask the question, if that aspect were to change, would it in some way threaten the true sense of who you are? And what we would say is, no, it would not. You are complete regardless of the personality that you have. The personality is formed as part of the experiences that you have. Those experiences do not make you who you are. In fact, those experiences are part of the complete sense of yourself as universal consciousness, providing the singularity or the reference point of singularity for you in this life as the individual, the opportunity to experience more wholeness, to learn the path of expansion towards more wholeness. The more closely you hold on to these individual aspects, the more you restrict and limit your expansion into wholeness. And this is what we see as the potential that you have in the human life, is the opportunity to, from a singular reference point, experience the wholeness of self. As collective consciousness, as we experience the reality, there is simultaneous experience of moments, of information, transferring of information. The joy and the challenge that you have in the human life, in the third dimensional reality, is that you have been provided a singular reference point as an individual life to then experience the wholeness from, which provides you the opportunity for a beautifully rich experience. The difficulty is that within that moment, in the singularity, comfort can be generated through reinforcing the personality and the story of the singularity. It creates a sense of safety and security. But this in itself creates limitation. And when you are ready to expand out beyond that limitation, it can feel unsettling. It can feel, in some ways, fearful, scary. Because to do so requires you to let go of the investment of that which made you feel safe. The investment around the personality, the investment around your control systems, the investment around your story. But do you see that all of those things, the personality, the story, your patterns, none of them actually exist in the present moment. They all exist as part of a construct generated in the past or the perceived future. In the present, all that exists is now. But in the same way that we refer to neutrality, it is not a limited reference point. The practice needs to come into focus to be present in the moment now. But in experiencing the moment right now, you are able to experience the wholeness of what is. Within multidimensional reality, within multidimensional self, within the wholeness of your conscious experience, with all universal consciousness. And this is what we guide you towards, because we see this as a beautiful thing to experience. And from our perspective, if we can help you with that, to see that, then we can be in service to guide you as friends. So we'll leave you with this, our friends. We hope that you are able to bring in more awareness into some of the patterning that exists within your life, some of the investment in identity that is generated, and that you are able to be more aware around experiencing your life from moment to moment by being present. And what you will find is that by doing this, in that present moment, with connection to the unconditional love that expresses clearly from you in being present, the choices, the actions, the information that is presented to you will be clear and will be guided towards the most clear expression of yourself. We look forward to connecting with you again soon. We love you. We love you. We love you. Goodbye.